Hello, everyone. Welcome to week one. All right. So for the next 2 weeks, we'll be discussing various aspects of the 9/11 attack and pretty much how it set the stage for this modern era of homeland security that we're in. So for starters, if you're not very familiar with what happened on 9/11, please read Chapter 1 of the 9/11 report in addition to the assigned chapters for this week. Because before we can discuss the current state of Homeland Security, it's important to know, and you need to know, where the United States was prior to 9/11, and that is what is covered in the readings for this week. There's no way possible to discuss what is in those three chapters in what would be about a 15-minute video. So for this week, please just read the chapters, complete the assignment for this week, and then if you have questions, please do let me know. Please do ask any questions that you may have. So kind of before we start discussing how things were prior to 9/11, I thought I would just give you a little bit of a personal account of what 9/11 looked like from my perspective as a law enforcement officer that was on duty that morning. So as many as you know, I did work in law enforcement for around 10 years, from 1998 to 2008. Most of that time was spent as a conservation officer for the state of Missouri. And I was on duty the morning of 9/11/2001. I was a conservation officer, and I was assigned to Pemiscot County in southeastern Missouri, which is in the southernmost tip of the boot heel on the east side, right there on the Mississippi River. So obviously there weren't any attacks in Missouri that day. But when 9/11 happened, when they hit the Twin Towers with the planes, nobody knew what could possibly be coming, right? Nobody had ever thought about the fact that somebody could be attacking the United States. And we had no idea if it was simply going to be just that or if there was going to be attacks all across the country. No one had any idea what could possibly be coming. So once the attacks happened, I received orders to be prepared to go wherever we were needed and do whatever was required, which is pretty wide open, right? But like I say, no one knew what was going to happen. And because I was on the Mississippi River, I had a pretty nice big riverboat that I used to work on the river. So I was instructed to go and make sure my boat was full of gas, make sure everything was ready to go with my boat. If we needed it, I was told to get ATVs ready. I was told to get any kind of emergency equipment, anything, extra batteries. Like I was supposed to be ready to roll to go anywhere at a moment's notice. So as you can imagine, it was a pretty frenetic couple of hours. Because you think about Missouri, there's a lot of places that could potentially be targets in Missouri, right? It's got Air Force Base, you had Fort Leonard Wood, you have numerous dams, there's a nuclear reactor, you have all the locks and dams on the Mississippi River, you have the Arch, right? You've got a lot of different things that could potentially be, the focus of a terrorist attack. So we really had no idea what to expect, if anything. So therefore, gosh, I don't remember how many hours it was now, but it was quite a while. We were on high alert, trying to figure out what was going on and trying to prepare for the worst, right? So once it was apparent nothing else was going to happen, we were obviously told to stand down, but to still be able to respond if we were needed somewhere, because they still thought there might be more coming. Maybe it was going to be a series of days. I mean, nobody knew because nobody had really thought about it. I'm sure somebody in D.C. was thinking about it, right? But nobody kind of at our levels, at the state level, was really thinking about the fact that somebody could attack the United States. Now, obviously, there had been the Murrah Federal Building bombing in 1996, and there had been some, kind of domestic terrorism kind of stuff, but nobody had ever, or at least, nobody that I had talked to or been around or training that I had had really thought about something on the scale of a 9/11. So after 9/11, lots of stuff happened, and we'll talk about more of that kind of down the road. But had a whole bunch of new training we had to go through, had new equipment, new radios, because just like in New York, none of us could talk to nobody could really talk to each other in Missouri. 9/11 changed the way everyone in law enforcement went about their business, even including a conservation officer in a small rural county in Missouri. As prior to 9/11, training I had about extremism was just a short presentation, mostly about motorcycle gangs, a little bit about white supremacists, right? There wasn't any talk about anything else. That was it. That was all the training I had regarding any kind of terrorism, extremism, anything. It was just 2 hours. It wasn't even very long, just a couple hours. So then obviously after 9/11, everybody was kind of on board with this new Homeland Security enterprise, all the way from local all the way up to the feds. And I had new responsibilities, but 9/11 was a heck of a day. And I say nothing happened in Missouri, but we were certainly on high alert because nobody had any idea, what could possibly be coming. All right, so with that, I'm going to end with this, and make sure you do your assignment for this week. Please let me know if you have any questions. I'll see you next week.